everybody. Welcome to What Culture Gaming. I'm Scott. I'm joined by Ben.
Hello.
Back on the channel after days, wayward days.
I know, right?
Everywhere.
Where have I been?
Doing the things.
Everywhere else.
What are your thoughts on Shadow of War?
Well, I played Shadow of War at EGX.
Oh, hello. Well, we
And,
can have a little crossover.
Warner Brothers might I think I'm wearing a Warner Brothers shirt as well, right? Because this
Shilling.
is Arkham VR. Yeah, what an ethics in games journalism kind of video, right? They were very good to Peter and I and managed to get us in to see it. I liked the first one,
Same.
but I was really let down by anything resembling a gripping story to keep me arsed by
Yes.
it. I thought it had some great mechanics. Again, the mechanics seem to have been doubled down on in Shadow of War, right? That's
Yep,
the name of the sequel?
Mordor.
Because it all rhymes, it's really confusing.
I don't know what they're going to call the next one. Shadow of More.
Yeah, Shadow of More. No, that's the DLC. That's the sequel. That's Shadow of More. But yeah, it played really well. It looks beautiful, and it's very Lord of the Ringsy. But my concern, which I'm hoping you'll get to in a second, perhaps, is about whether or not there's a reason to stick around playing it.
See, the thing is, because I don't think anyone, and I was totally in this camp, I don't think anyone cares about the rest of Shadow of War other than have Warner Brothers gone full on loot boxy, microtransaction-y, RNG,
Right.
all that stuff. Yes is the question to all the systems are in there, but no is the answer to does it actually ruin or affect the game at
okay.
all. Honestly, I mean, it's really egregious. They have adverts on the pause menu. They give you a 3% XP boost if you sign up to their newsletter. They've got, it's really full on. Like they're just, and when you're on the army screen, when you're remixing your Nemesis things, there's a little button for like, do you want to go to the market? Do you want to buy something to go there?
That's awful.
It really is.
Have you played, sorry to derail you slightly,
It's
but
all
have
right.
you played a Lego game recently?
The last one I played was the big one, Lego Worlds.
Okay. Well, I don't know if it was in that one, but certainly for the themed ones like the Lego Batman and Lego Marvel stuff, the main menu, the first splash screen you get to is, would you like to go to the main menu or would you like to buy the season pass? Those are the two options, and you have to press
In
a button
life.
every time just to go to the main menu, and it's so awful, and everyone's like, yeah, that's fine, it's
Right.
a children's game. They won't click on that, will
Or
they?
they'll get, the parents' credit card and blow $5,000. But yeah, so the way that it works in Shadow of War is that it does infiltrate every aspect of the game, but only if you want it to. You will notice the prompts. I mean, it's like I said, every time you pause it, you've got a big box out with a little slidey thing going
bit
like
full on.
Yeah, and like it's just at some point in the game, at some point I've played the whole thing. About the middle way through the game, when you start infiltrating different fortresses and sieges and stuff, you'll come across a character called the Headhunter, and he's the dude that people might have seen in the memes. The guy who's like just like rubbing his hands because he's the guy that sells you everything.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where I think the coding department are at odds. Like I think Monolith are at odds with Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I don't blame the developers here at
No.
all. They're just under a crappy master. it
Yeah,
sounds like.
and that's the feeling that you get when you start playing the whole game, is that you feel like there's this really intricate, it's almost like a board game. They've really taken all the Nemesis stuff from the first one and extrapolated it all out. You have this like really intricate, like mathematically balanced Nemesis system stuff, contrasted against this really horrible, what feels like publisher-mandated microtransaction model, which means that you can upend all sense of progression by just buying your way through. You can buy more gems and training orders and siege upgrades and orc
Right.
upgrades, all that stuff, or you can just play it.
Yeah.
You play the game like it's supposed to be played, and you can have a hell of a good time. I really, really like this game, but I do think that it's worth addressing just how
So it's
stupidly
more of
it is.
leaving a bitter taste in your mouth at the prevalence of it rather than it negatively
Yeah,
affecting the
and
game.
for me, like the way that the game, the way that the whole thing plays, like you can kind of just wring your hands of it. It reminds me a little bit of when Goro was available in Mortal Kombat 10, and they just had a little box in the character select screen with a big X over it. It's like press X to buy Goro.
You can't have this guy
Unless you want to do it. And like we've just seen that GameStop advert where they're just sort of like, pay more or you won't get the mission. It's just so like I mean, I get there's a sense of honesty to it in a way.
It's
State
awful,
of the Union.
Yeah, it's really bad.
It's a really, I think, I mean, Assassin's Creed Origins is getting the loot box treatment, but theirs are going to be that you pay for them. The thing with this is, if you do like daily challenges and things like that, you'll get enough of the specific currency that gets you the loot boxes.
Same with Battlefront 2, right?
Yes.
You can unlock boxes just by playing.
Yeah, but apart from in Battlefront 2, unless they change it for the real release, the actual utilization of the boxes means that it changes the progression. Like you can break the game by just buying too much stuff.
Right.
Nothing in here will let you pay to win, basically.
Okay.
You're really only like fast tracking like how fast you can take over a fortress, how fast you can level up. A lot of the stuff is tied to Talion's character, which the only way you could like speed the whole game up as if you bought a bunch of XP boosts,
Right.
and then maybe you trigger a bunch of them. You'd still have to play the game. I always think that a lot of these models are always predicated on like, well, what if I pay this to not play the game? Like, why would you do that? Why would you jump past the thing you just paid for?
Yeah, I don't know. Some people will do it though. If there's an option there that they can take, then that's great. But maybe not try and trick everyone into accidentally clicking on it and
Yeah.
just getting upset with you.
And so, like, I mean, so that was like the main preamble. I'm gonna weave the loot based thingamajigs
Okay.
into these other categories because it does infiltrate everything. But we can rattle through like the main tenets of our review stuff.
Yes, let's go.
So the first thing to note is just like narrative. I mean, what did they show you at EGX? Did you play like the beginning?
They dumped us at one of the assaults on a fortress
Cool.
outpost type thing. There was
Okay.
no narrative aspect to it at all.
Did you see the other ring?
No.
Because one of the like, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. You just need to accept that they don't care about the lore, and you just need to go there.
Okay.
This is Lord of the Rings by way of like manga. It's just sort of
Right.
everything's over the top, everything's stupid. It opens with them forging another One Ring, which goes against the entire point of the whole thing.
When is this set canonically?
Before Lord of the Rings.
Before Lord of the Rings.
They actually tie it into the trilogy. I'll not spoil it, but it does actually tie directly into the trilogy.
Frodo just pops up.
Hello. Have you got any rare loot?
Yes.
But yeah,
Hey, buy my loot box. Just like the books.
the Frodo, the Bilbo bag.
Just like the books.
But yeah,
Perfect.
so towards the end of the game, they do tie it into the story, which there's no point doing that because it's just the most stupidly over the top thing ever.
Yeah.
In terms of narrative, you're the Bright Lord, you're Talion and Celebrimbor. Celebrimbor is in the Silmarillion. He's the dude that helped forge the ring in the actual canon.
Right.
Same in the games. But there's just little things that break. Like, why are you amassing a bunch of orcs? Because every time you conquer a fortress, you then do a big like, Mordor belongs to us, and we're going to take over, and all that kind of stuff. And it's like they're all just mind-controlled drones following you, and you're going to kill them
they are.
anyway. You're not like, as a character, he's not invested in those people. He's not actually trying to be a leader.
Right.
He's trying to like strike back against Sauron, whatever. But all you need to know is that it's ridiculously over the top. There's another One Ring, and it lets Talion mind control swaths of orcs at once.
Okay.
And so the narrative is just like, let's go kill Sauron again.
Right.
So-
2 rings.
Yes, there are 2 rings, and Shelob is a woman, which a lot of people got really annoyed about.
I saw a PC Gamer article yesterday, I think it was. They made Shelob sexy, so here are 8 other Lord of the Rings monsters that deserve to be sexy, or something like
Just
that.
do a hot golem.
Oh dear, no thank
HG.
you.
But I mean, honestly, for me, the Shelob stuff, like, yeah, completely pointless making her a woman. She does stay in her spider form for like some of her big moments in the story. But yeah, pointless making her a woman. Although I don't think they shoot her in a particularly provocative way. She's just meant to be a seductress. She's not like
Right.
she's not wearing revealing clothing or anything like that. I don't think it's as bad as
She's
people.
a spider, isn't she?
Yeah, she's just a spider woman.
Spider, so
And she's doing the whole like sound like video game, like leering to you, like, oh, trust in me, like all kind of yeah, a bit of that. So whatever, that's the narrative. Presentation wise, you might have noticed this at EGX, but I don't think it looks particularly good.
Okay.
Like graphically, I'm never one to talk about graphics. I would really think I don't care. Like people who frame by frame comparisons and whatever, I don't care. But I think that it is very comparable to the 2014 one. And I mean, there will be things that you can delve in and go, okay, they upgraded the lighting here and there. But for me, just the basic character models and stuff don't look all that impressive.
Okay.
And a lot of the loot doesn't look that great either. And for a game predicated on a loot grind, you're not really unlocking anything that looks particularly amazing.
Right.
Other than certain like gold and silver trims and stuff. I mean, did they give you like fancy stuff when you were playing?
Well,
some of the legendary stuff's quite cool.
The problem that Peter and I have with expos and cons and stuff is that they are the worst place to experience these games because it's a dark, hot, smelly room that's really loud, and they just dump you into a game. There's a little card with the buttons on it. You're like, okay, what am I doing? Right, you've had
Here's your
5 minutes.
headphones.
Off you go. You queue for 2 hours to play it. So no, I had no idea what was going on.
Right.
When I went in there, I was just trying to remember stuff desperately that I knew from the
first
2014 one. And then as soon as I started playing immediately, Peter didn't. And one of the guys came over and said, what you want to do is go to your loadout screen before you start and equip your dragon and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay.
What you want to do is put
So
your
I'm
credit
just-
card information in and get another loot box.
So I was just sprinting straight in. So no sign of that.
That carries into another point with the presentation. This is going to go into gameplay. Is that it is so overwhelming the amount of things that you can do, and the way the game has a really, really badly lays out just how to do everything.
Okay.
It's just there are like 8 strands of quests to do. There's like gems and loot grinds and like challenges, gear specific challenges, just like collectibles to like pick up. Like orcs can have different abilities. Like it is ridiculous how much content there is. It's great value for money.
Yeah.
Which is ironic considering that it has this
they want
pilfering.
more,
Yeah.
yes.
But it's very good value for money. Hence the whole developer-publisher dichotomy thing. But it does have a very bad rollout of its best mechanic is the Nemesis stuff, and that doesn't come into the fore until Act 2. So you have a whole like story-focused campaign bit at the beginning where you're just like climbing towers and doing this really crap stuff where you're just like looking around in a tower trying to find collectibles, and it's just
Right.
but it gets there. Act 2, brilliant. And Act 3, which is like there's a whole end game thing that's fantastic as well. I don't know whether it's not a spoiler.
Okay.
But you know how you're like taking sieges the whole way through. I'll sans spoilers completely, but it's worth knowing that there's a whole end game that is literally endless. If you just want to, there is a way to finish it, but there's also a way to just make it keep going.
Okay.
There's a whole end game where you're then defending your forces, and so you get to do the opposite, where you're preparing your defenses and preparing your orcs to defend against people instead. That stuff is great, and it's worth knowing that like just overall there's an absolute ton of content, just like really like hashtag content, just sort of like just challenges and just a lot of stuff.
Time trials and other crap.
Yeah, bits and bobs. But that gets into the main reason that anyone cares about this franchise, which is the Nemesis stuff, which is by far the best stuff. Do you remember any particular Nemesis stories from the first one? I feel like everyone's got like a certain interaction they had with someone along the way.
That's the thing. I think that's why I wasn't as keen on the first one as a lot of people. I still ended up getting the platinum, so of course I did.
You're not going to not do that.
Well, yeah, I can't help myself. I have a problem. But I didn't like. I thought it was an awesome system, but and I fully appreciate what it is, and I don't knock the game at all, and I wish more games did it. But I didn't really have anything that's jumped out at me in the first.
Well, see, I had that in the first one because at the end, it does the whole thing where it's like, and here's your nemesis, the guy you're supposed to have this thing with, and I was like, who? Like, if you're good at the game, then chances are you rarely died anyway. And so in the first one, for me, there wasn't anybody who was my nemesis, and it went this guy, Gorgoth the blah blah, and I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
This one, they upend that a hell of a lot, and they really make it matter. Most of the time, just by boxing you into a scenario where you have to lose. But they have the best thing about this is how much they've done with the Nemesis system, because you just have so many dynamic encounters. Like, say you're poisoning the grog like 3 times in a row, a guy will jump out behind you and be like, "What's happening to me grog?" And then like they realize what you're doing. Or like I had a guy just ambush me on the way to another checkpoint where he was like, "I've been looking for you," and he just like came out, and him and his dragon flew in, and I had this thing with him. I was fighting a boss, and I got ambushed by another dude who was like an archer who like I was going to do the finishing blow, and this guy killed me instead. And the guy was like, "Oh, if you're going to kill him, you need to go through me." And then he got promoted, and all of a sudden I had to go after him. Things like that. That is the meat and potatoes and everything else of this game.
I did find a cool thing in the demo that I played, except it was not a nemesis as much as it was a friend. The friend system.
Okay. They have a blood brother system, if that's what it is.
It might have been something like that.
Right.
On my side, I had one of the big troll guys.
Yep. Was it called Bruce?
Don't know. Not the one who's seen laughing in the trailers.
The Finding Nemo man. That's who that dude is.
Is it?
I haven't verified the actor yet, but I would be willing to bet.
It's the shark from
because when he goes, "My name's Bruce," it's the same thing from Finding Nemo. Like, yeah, totally.
Nemo, Bruce.
Anyway,
I was. You know the thing that they've added this time, where if you're down on the ground and they attack you, you've got to press the button in time to save yourself at the last minute.
I think you could do that in the last one, couldn't you?
Oh, I can't remember.
I think you could.
It's been so many years.
It has.
I've aged so many lifetimes.
Anyway.
They were going down to do that for me, and I missed the button prompt, and he just smashed this guy's skull into the ground. I was like, "Oh, cool, all right." And he says, "You're not dying today, bright lord." And
that stuff is fantastic.
That was fun.
They do that. See, the thing is, I don't know how much of that is dynamic and how much of it is programmed to happen. Because I had a great bit in the story where, because the story, for all intents and purposes, is pretty terrible, but they do some good stuff with the characters within the voice performances and acting performances rather, and some of the arcs that some of those characters go on, they're really good. It's it's not going to win any awards, but it's fine. Anyway, I had a mission where I was with this dude, and he saved me in the same way, but I wasn't expecting it at all. And when those things happen, it's fantastic. I was raiding a fortress, and I was beating one of the final boss guys, and he's about to kill me, and one of my orcs who's been with me for ages made the save. I didn't even bring him with me. He just turned joined up and went and did this thing. He's like, we'll do this together. And I was like, that's great. That's a proper like Hollywood moment.
Yeah.
And things like that are why this matters. Like they all feel like really dynamic encounters. I said, I don't know how much of it is programmed to happen to every player, but there's so many permutations of the game will remember everything you've done.
Yeah,
it's great.
I haven't felt that. I'm not talking about this game specifically, but I haven't felt that kind of way about a game for a while. Particularly a game where you have characters that are on your party or on your team. Final Fantasy VII was one where I genuinely cared about the party members, and when they did stuff in the story, I was like, "Oh, that's awesome! That's just like what Barrett would do." Yeah, Barrett. And it also happened for me in Mass Effect 2 as well, because I really cared about the party in that. But I haven't really had it happen in a while, and this is a really clever way to get people to care by having it be dynamic and have you forge these relationships with characters that they could have never imagined. Totally. It's all totally random.
And so that's one of the problems with this is like they have this phenomenal system, but it's not it's like it goes to the front of the gameplay experience over time. But the worst aspect are the story missions. And so I think if they'd made a whole story that relied on the Nemesis stuff entirely, it would be phenomenal. Because like for me, I had a whole altercation with this dude where I poisoned an orc and poison damage killed him, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I was a little ways through, and I had this whole thing where I had to defend like a fortress, and he was the one leading the charge, and he was all poison infused, and he was like, oh, didn't expect me to be back, did you? And I was like, oh, I'd live fight that dude. And things like that where it's like they've infused the story bits with like bits of this dynamic stuff, and you get to see a window.
They feel like maybe they could not have to try quite as hard perhaps in the story department because they know the Nemesis system will step up and fill in the blanks.
And it's like, I guess on their programming side they're just like, well, slot in whatever character this person's had an altercation with, but that stuff really works, and when that stuff comes off, it does make you feel like, oh, that's only happening to me. And like orcs will come back regardless of if they've been cleaved in half or lost their head or whatever, and the game's very self-aware and very funny about that stuff, where it's just sort of like I don't know, it'll just say something like, well, this isn't fitting very well, but I need to kill you or whatever. It's always like stupid. It's really fun. But yeah, I mean, like another thing was like, just as another little aside, like I had a dude who was like one of my favorite guys, and because you can assign an orc to be an assassin. Say you're going to be taking on like a high level war chief. There's like 3 ranks of orcs, and you can assign a dude to be an assassin, which means that when you start that battle, they'll get backstabbed by your guy, which puts them on lower health. So it's like another aspect of like the tactical side of it. But I had a bit where I had a guy assigned as an assassin, and I went to do the siege thing, and the overlord, the top ranking guy, figured out or assumed or whatever dynamically that he was my spy. So my opening cutscene was him slitting the dude's throat and being like, "Didn't think I'd realize, did you?" And then just things like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool, and like that's what you can hang this whole game on is that system. I think the game does a horrendous job of pushing you towards those interactions or whatever. You have to just explore and find them, but those things happen in such a way that it starts to come together and give you like a real nemesis. Like the dude that cost me one of the final boss encounters, I was like, I'm gonna kill you, and you can send death threats to them and like hunt them down, same as you could in the first one, but in this case it means you get better loot, things like that. And so like all that comes like around, all that stuff comes full circle when you do the sieges, because you're picking your favorite orcs, all the ones that you can fight against each other. But it does mean that like the microtransaction system rears its head as much or as little as you want. You can buy additional boosts for every single part of this. Orcs come in loot boxes now and things like that.
That's how orcs are made.
Apparently. So yeah, I mean, for me, I'm very positive on it, but I do think that the loot stuff, it's there as much as you want to notice it. For me, I didn't, and I mean, you notice it, but I didn't interact with it at all. But yeah, I think like it's as off-putting as you want to let it, basically. So another thing is you have an aspect called the fighting pits, which is where you can take any of your orcs and you can pit them against each other. You get this like as the game sort of progresses, but it's really cool because the AI takes over, and so it means that like any orc that you've got, whether you got him from a loot box or you recruited him, because you can recruit any of the captains to be on your side. So any really badass boss that like killed you, just dominate them, recruit them, and then put them into the fighting pits to make them stronger. But the AI takes over, which is just like Injustice 2 when you could have an AI profile as well, and you can see how your orc then performs against other orcs, which is just kind of cool. It's cool seeing those systems like play off against each other, and you see all their animations come together, and maybe you have like a favorite orc or something like that you want to rise up the ranks by making them fight each other. That stuff's great.
Is it a bit like Injustice 2 with where you can just have your guy fight all day just to level up?
Although it's like eventually the game will put them against like a way higher level level enemy, which doesn't mean that they. I think it does actually. Yeah, that does mean that they'll die. So you need to like be careful of where you throw them in.
Yeah.
But it does mean that you can have a guy that like maybe you really like a certain orc and you want to like level them up and then make them infiltrate a fortress, so that when you then take that fortress, they'll show up and be like, I'm already ready, I'm already here for you, or whatever, and then they'll join the siege and help. The siege stuff is like again alongside the Nemesis stuff where everything comes together, where you're adding boosts to orcs and you're infiltrating, you're taking different capture points and working your way up to like overthrowing the overlord and taking over. That's the meat of this game, and especially in the end game, like the inversion of that, defending everything. That's what, like, because if the orcs win, they'll then take over again, and then everything resets and you try and take it back. That's how it becomes endless. But yeah, like all that stuff means that all the Nemesis encounters can just happen. You can have vendettas against different orcs, and they'll all fight each other, so you can jump in and watch them fight. Maybe whoever wins, you then jump down and brandish them and be like, you're with me now, and then you just build your army that way. There's a lot of different systems all overlaying with each other, and I really think they come together pretty damn well.
Would you assign a score to such a game?
I would. I would happily give Shadow of War 4 stars. I think that despite its like misgivings and this weird, we're in a weird time with video games right now, and you can hold up Shadow of War as emblematic of everything that's wrong with the industry in terms of how money pilfering it's become. But I don't think they fundamentally get in the way, and I do think the Nemesis stuff and the story payoff, like all that stuff is in there, providing you don't take Lord of the Rings stuff. You can just cast it aside for a bit, and just have a bit of fun with it. That stuff's great.
So Scott, when is Shadow of War out, or when did it come out?
It is out now. It came out on Tuesday, I believe.
So you've had a busy weekend?
I have. I was off yesterday. I literally played it for 13 hours straight. I've not done that since Metal Gear Solid 5.
Wow.
I really like this. I think
doing that with South Park this weekend. First impressions coming on Monday.
But yeah, I mainly wanted to just address the only question people seem to have, which is, have Warner Brothers messed up Shadow of War? And no, they haven't, because the Gameplay Foundation.
It's okay.
It's all right.
Guys.
Don't worry about it.
The world is okay.
It's okay. You can literally feel the fight between Monolith and and Warner Brothers here.
Well, let us know in the comments below what you think of Shadow of War, door to door. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I've been Ben from What Culture Gaming.
I've been Scott from What Culture Gaming.
And we'll see you soon.